Welcome to Wednesday Workshop, APCUG's Wednesday Workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week to learn more about technology. This is the third Wednesday of the month, so that is Linux, learning more about Linux. And this is the second hour of Linux, so this is time for our spectacular software showcase. Today, I'm going to start the ball rolling with this, and we are going to be talking today about system monitoring. And that came about because somebody in one of the past workshops said, well, I can do this in Windows. Can you do that in Linux? And my answer, of course. I don't know much of anything that I can't do in Linux that you can do in Windows, except maybe Adobe and Quicken, and that's another whole can of worms on that. So today we're going to be talking about system monitoring tools. Now, I'm not using a slide deck because this is all going to be live, but I will send out a big slide deck that has screenshots of everything I'm going to be talking about today. It won't be as good as the live presentation and the discussion, but the screenshots will jog your memory and let you quickly take a look at something so that you can see. We're going to do this in two parts. We're going to do part one is going to be graphical GUIs, graphical user interface software that comes with Linux, and then of course, or comes with Mint. And then I'm going to go and branch off into here's other software that you could be using. And then we will go for the other people on the other side of the fence who like the command line and the terminal, and we'll take a look at some terminal-based command line programs that do system monitorings that you might be interested in. Again, I will start with what comes, and then I'll show you what I found as other options. I'm not going to be an expert on all of these. I will share what I really like. I have them all on my computer because I'm demoing it, but there are things that I would use more than the other. So let me start off by getting the share on the laptop going. And it even came up to the screen I wanted to start with. And I need to hide that. And that one I can't hide. Let me get back because you have to do it in the right order. I have to hide the video panel first, then I have to hide the meeting controls. There we go. All right. Now, this isn't part of the presentation, but this is background because this is what Windows people know. This is what they brought up to me. This is Windows Task Manager. It is a screenshot because it does not run on my computer. But this just reminds you what you get on yours. And this is the processes that show everything that's running. You have also a performance. Let's see, I got to do this wrong keyboard. And you have a process or performance, that shows you what's going on. You also have, it shows you you've got an app history, your startup apps, talk about your users. So this is your task manager or your main system monitor for Windows. And so we will come back to that screen later. And I've pulled up what's called System Monitor for Mint. This is called the GNOME actual system monitor because that's what is used on the GNOME desktops, and Cinnamon is a variation of that. So this is Mint's variation on the system monitor. And again, as you can see, it shows our processes, everything that's running. It also shows information about the file system. Now, what you will see is that there's no tab for like the users and the history. You can get that information from something else. But we also have the resources, which is just another way for the performance. And the one that we have in Mint has a live graphical one, and it's all very colorful. Part of it depends on how many cores you have in your CPU. This laptop that I inherited from somebody who got mad because it wouldn't run Windows right, was going to throw it away. I took it over. It's an 8-core processor, and so you can get all the little details for all the cores. I can also see the memory for both the computer usage, and it's a little bit high right now, and that's because we're running Zoom and running some of my other programs. Normally with Linux, you don't run high memory. And then of course it checks my network and how it's going. I'll keep my fingers crossed that the network holds up. And of course, it also shows how my disks are reading and writing. And I only have one disk on this particular computer, so it only shows the one. But that's the Mint system monitor. So everything that basically you needed to see from what Windows people had, I've got the same stuff, and I even like it better because it's got cute graphics and colored lines and all of that. But that's just cosmetic stuff. If we go back, along with the task manager, which I consider would be a system monitoring tool, we also have a system information program on Windows that tells you all sorts of stuff that you didn't really want to know about your computer. And it's very comprehensive. You can see that in Windows, the overall summary gives you basic information about my Windows Tower computer. And then you can go in deep depth with, the hardware and the components and the software environment. And there's something else, down there. But that's what they have. So let's go back and talk about what we have. And when I do that, I go and get SYS, and I just always do the typing in because let the machine do the work for me. And here we have system information along with the system monitor that I already showed you. In system information, make it bigger screen. It gives you the general idea of the computer. And that's the one that's my mouse. And it tells you about the operating system, the generic stuff that you have. But this information, this is what was the newest thing in Linux Mint. They came up with this new one. And if you go to USB, here's everything about the USB connectors on this laptop. Here's all the information about the graphical processing unit that happens to come with this laptop. All the stuff that I don't know and understand about PCI with bridges and hosts and this and that, but all that information is here. I even have information about the BIOS on this computer. And lets me know that I haven't updated this for a while, but with BIOS, a lot of times, unless I'm told that there's a security problem or whatever, I've been taught if it ain't broke, leave it alone. So I don't mess around with updating BIOSes unless I really would have to. We also, in the system information, we get a report. And right now there's no problems detected. So that's good. But if there are problems, it shows up on here. And we have crash reports. And this tells me that I had a couple of crashes with my pCloud, and it was because of the way I was trying to start it up, and there were some issues with the app image that was doing that. And so it'll give me information. I don't want to click that one. Yeah, I shouldn't have done, because this will take a while, because this will give me a whole printout of all the things that went with the problem of the crash, so that if I needed to submit this to somebody, I can do that, and they can have all that information that they need. So that's the system information that comes with Linux. So those are the two things that come with Windows and Linux. We've got the exact same thing. So now what I want to do is part 2 of our spectacular software showcase is talk about other options and other programs that you can have. The first one I'm going to talk about, though, is a sister program. And I told you that the system monitor that I showed you was the GNOME system monitor that goes with the GNOME desktop and the Cinnamon desktop and any desktop that's probably built on GNOME. But there's also a program for KDE that goes with any of the desktops that are variations of the K desktop environment, KDE, which a lot of our users, especially Orv, uses. And they have a slight different design, but should you like this one better, this is what's nice about Linux, you can run it. Now, the reason I don't have it on mine is that when you pull in some KDE programs, you pull in a whole bunch of KDE ingredients, let's say. And so your operating system that was a Cinnamon is no longer pure Cinnamon. It's kind of been a mixture, which could cause some issues. But if you really liked it, and you could use it. But if you really like KDE, I would say go with the KDE desktop. But this shows you theirs. They have the overview for their monitor. It's just a hourglass or a circle shaped. They have the applications that are running, and then you can see that there's another choice for the processes, so you can see what's running and deal with those problems. So that's a different one. There might be a slight different one for Mate. There might be a slight different one for the XFCE desktop, but they're all going to be basically the same, and so we all have them. But that shows you what's out there. And I think that's it for my slides. Yeah, because they were Windows stuff. So let's then go back to what other programs are there out there that I've discussed, found, and some of them I think are pretty nice. One of them is called Mission Control. And there it comes right up. And Mission Control, look at my notes here. I'll make this full screen and start on services again. This is one that you can install on your computer. I'm amazed there are 336 total services running on my computer or available. I like this because it's color coded. The green means they're running. Yellow means they're stopped. Hopefully, if I scroll down, because this is live, I won't find any red ones, because red ones not good. And if they're grayed out, they've been disabled so that they're not running. They can be run at any time. And what's nice about this one is that if I find something that is running or doing something bad and I click on that, then I can go up to the top and I can disable it, I can stop it, I can make one that's not running. So this program really is great with all your services and doing it. You can see where there's a stop to stop the monitoring, but the option of being able to do all of the start and stops, because once in a while the program will just not work right and you can't get it to close, so you can find it in your services and then get rid of it. Also, we have the apps. This one shows all the apps that are running right now and in their subcategories. And it shouldn't be too many, but you can see that I'm running Firefox to do my Zoom work. And I've got AnyDesk sitting in the background to use anytime. I forgot to turn it off because I don't need it on right now when I'm not doing it. But I can, again, if I had a program, I'm going to just click one, but I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to stop anything. But you can see again at the top, I have a way of stopping it. If stopping doesn't work, I can force stop it. So this monitoring is a great program. When I go to the performance one, this one is a lot like the one you kind of saw on Windows that is separate for each item. You can see I got my CPU running and information about that. Then I've got separate buttons to look at my memory, my hard drive, and it knows it's an NVMe hard drive. This one also adds what's my wired connection doing, what about my wireless, and it's got a section to be able to monitor my graphical processing unit. If I go up, I got to remember on my notes. Most of the time, especially in programs like this, you have a button that you can customize it and have it preference the way you want. I'm not going to go down on this list, but this is where you would come to customize this very good program that does all that stuff that the GNOME monitoring tool does, and maybe a little bit more with a little bit more information about that. So that's the mission control. It's available in just like a sales thing. It's available in your market or your software store that you can download and run. I like it. Another program that is very impressive, it's called Resources. And I'm going to start that up in the process again when it comes up and make it full screen. This one doesn't have buttons across the top. This one has everything across the side. It has the same tools as we had for Mission, but they decided to have it all on the side. That's their choice. So here we are again with the processes. And again, if I found something that I didn't want to have going, I could click on it, and then you can see down in the bottom corner, I have the option to end the process, and there's more options. I can halt it or I can kill the process, and kill is a Linux term to stop a process. I'm just anxious to see what happens when I was doing a lot of searching about how to kill processes, what's going to come back to haunt me about what I've been searching for. But kill is the command to stop the process. So I have the choice of I can either kill it or I can halt it or I can continue on with it. If I click on the apps, again, this tells you what programs I have running, and you can see I'm running Resources, and the system information was running earlier. So I have these, and if I click on one, I have the option to, again, do the end or whatever. So this is a really good program. Then on the side, it just took pretty much the same tools for graphing. There's the processor. Gives me, to me, a lot of information that was on the side on the one screen. I can show the usage of the logical CPUs, but I'm just sticking with the regular. There's the memory. There's the graphical processing unit. Here's my hard drive. And they kind of split it up into a couple of different levels or different graphs. which you might find better than the one for mission controls. There's my Wi-Fi and the Ethernet. This one adds battery. And so if you can check it. And of course, I've got my power plugged in during this because I don't want to take a chance that the battery would go and I'd be out. But this one is really a good one. It's called resources. And again, you have your preferences on how you want to see, and they break it down into your apps, processes, and devices. If I go into the processes, I can include more. I can add stuff about my data, reading totals and writing totals. And there's a lot of video encoders. So you can see that this program has a lot of extra things that you can add to it, which kind of gives it a little bit better possibility maybe than the mission control, which definitely to me has more than the Mint system monitor. So that was resources. And I've got one more to share with you that maybe I saved the best for last on this part because I still have the info one from the Windows, but this one's called Stacer. And this program it's quite amazing. It has quite a lot. I think you will be very impressed with it, and this is one that you might want to check into getting. It's not really great on the graph. It's just a arch graph, I guess you could see, that shows that the CPU is in green, the memory is in yellow because, like I said, we're running Zoom, which takes a lot in the background, plus these programs. And I guess my disk is filling up because this was only about a 250 solid state NVMe drive. So it's not something that normal work would be for me. I would either have to have a second one included or external hard drive or my desktop that has multiple hard drives. But you can see it also gives how my download and upload speeds are going in my system. Let's see, a lot to show you on this one. I have to go down the name because, okay, services. I want to show you that this one has what everybody else has and maybe even some more, because this one really lets you customize of the services. What do you want to run on startup, which is that first button, and one that you want to run after you're logged in. So I haven't gone through all of these because this is an area that I'm not an expert, but this is where you come if you've got problems with booting up and something taking too long. You can stop something from initial startup boot or startup running to running after the computer's up and running, and you can turn it off. And so you can see all these different processes that are running, and you have good control over what you want to do with them. Then we switch to resources. Yep. No, processors. Let's see, where's that one? Okay, these are the actual processes that are running as before, but the other one was an interesting thing about the stuff that starts up. And again, I can go through all of this, and if I have something that's gone a mess, if I click on it, then I can go down to the bottom corner and end the process. So that works well. resources. There we go. Okay, so here's the graphics, and as you can see, it has this pretty much the same. There's my history of the CPU, but then here's the history of my load averages. Here's the history of my write averages. Then here's the history of my memory and my network. And here talks about my file system. And you can see that that one is my home drive, and that one is my, oh, that part's just my pCloud drive. There's my home, and that should be my root. So it tells you about that. Now, what's nice about this program in that, well, I want to see this better because look at that. I've got all 8 processor cores with graphs. If I click, I can expand, and now we can see just the CPU graph, and it's a live graph going on. So each of these is expandable so that you can read it a lot easier. And my network, so far doing well. Little glitch right here that jumped up for something going on. Okay, so that's all the graphics, and you have to scroll to see all of them. Next is adding to this program. That was just enough. That covered the basics that we've been talking about with processors and apps and a few more. But this program comes with a system cleanup. And you can see here that we've got, I can clean up the package caches. I can delete crash reports, all the logs, all the application caches, not just the package ones, empty my trash, and I can do all 5 at once. So this one program, I can clean up things a lot just in here, along with everything else I can do. Again, another option. This program, Stacer, will show me all the programs I have, and oh, that's processes again. Sorry. There we go. Has all the programs I have running and will uninstall them for me. So I don't have to go to a separate program to do uninstalling. I can do that all here. It's like having a Revo uninstaller, but separate, but here it's combined with it. I also have all the list of the starting up programs that I have right now. And you can see that's my AnyDesk, Dropbox, Update Manager, and my pCloud. But I have them not starting up at the beginning. They want to, but I won't let them. I just have pCloud starting up at the beginning. But you can control all of your startup programs as to when they come in. So this program is full. Let's see, I've covered everything. A search, if you want to do a search in your computer, did that one. Resources. I'm not quite sure. This is helper. I'm not quite sure what the helper is, but it talks about my network. So it's talking about evidently the different parts of my network. This one talks about the repositories. You wouldn't find this on the Windows one, but I can have control over what I include in repositories. It's tied into the same of your app update, which you're doing there. And some basic settings for here. This is the program. It's free. You can donate if you want to help them out with their project. But to me, this is one program that does not only the system monitoring, but also a lot more in terms of your programs that you might be interested in having on your computer. So that one's called Stacer. Now, and it can continue to work in the system tray, but I don't, because I don't want to overload things. Now, that ends the part about the programs for system monitoring that I really like. But the Windows people said, well, I've got both system monitoring and system information. So I showed you what Mint had was the Mint system information. But I have a program that would have everything and more than what? This one is called Hard Disk Info version 2. This is another program. There, I had to wait for it to lighten up. This one gives you more information than you ever want to know about your computer. It has a summary that is before the summary, and it tells you everything about this laptop. It even tells you I'm running Xorg. And of course, I need to point out that with the new Ubuntu 26.04, they are moving to Wayland as their default. And that has its good points, bad points. That'll be up for discussion. But you can see all the information. Then they have a summary, but I kind of thought that was a summary. But when I click on the summary, it gives me another set of my computer with more details, my input devices. It even tells you what printer is networked to here. It's not hooked in, but like we like with Linux, boy, it finds it, and it's got my disk drive. But as you can see, it goes down through all the separate categories of operating system, kernel, security, languages, memory, memory usage. There's what's using my memory today, my users, the groups we have on Linux. Under the devices, there's no summary for devices, which I found kind of strange, but you've got all the system, the processors, graphics, memory, printers, battery, the resources again, network information, and then it ends up with benchmarks. So, you can be running benchmarks on your computer and then compare your benchmarks to what you've had in the past. So this is one full thing I keep on my computer because it has everything that I need to know about my computer out here. And I can generate reports. That's what's really keen about this is I can generate reports and I can synchronize something. But that's the program called Hard Info 2 because it's the second version, also found in your software store. The last one of our GUIs that I'm going to talk about is QDirstat. And QDirstat is a program that has kind of replaced a program that started out as KDirstat, written for the KDE desktop. And this has got the Q part. And so we have it out here. I will mention that there is a version of this program. If you're a Windows user and you like this program, then there is a version called WinDirstat. But this is QDirstat. Sounds Swedish, but that's because of the Qt desktop we have. And what you do is this will track the information about your hard drives. And so, for example, I can pick my home, I can pick my root drive, or I can pick the boot EF. So I'm going to pick the root one to start with. And when I say OK, it's going to take a minute to generate. And what it does is it generates a massive listing of all my folders and files in order of what's taking up the most amount of room. And so it's kind of reading that right now. And you can see on the side, here we go. And so in my root, it shows you that my temp folder is the biggest one. And so I need to go in and clear out some temp stuff because I don't need temp stuff. Then user is all my stuff. But this program is really good. There's another program that we talked about in Windows side called Tree Size Free that does the same sort of thing. But you'll also see that in addition to this, it puts it into a weird graph. It can do it a square graph that tells you all the different kind of files that you have that are filling up your computer, or you can get it into a circle graph with, looks like a pie cut up and everything. You can choose for that. But this lets you know where all your problems are. And a lot of times you need to know what's taking up my room. So they will do that. So let me go back and see if I can figure out how to get back to Open Directory. Yep, that's what I want. I want to do my home this time because I want to show you how this really works. It's a good thing. So we're going to do home. And you can see my folder. And oh, this is my laptop, not the same. On the slides I made of my desktop, and I found that in local, it was huge. And so I went down in local, keep finding, trash, and under files, and files again. On my desktop, I found that I had 3 huge zip files. There were many, many gigs apiece, taking up room that I didn't need because it was in the trash. But that's what this program does. This program lets you find out what all is on your computer, what's taking up information and taking up space. And then, you can go in and get rid of it, because you can see that up at the top on this was a Zoom file. I could delete it. So this is a one. This one also can do your packages and show you what all you have in your packages. I don't know if this one does. No, for some reason on my desktop, I had a separate full part that I could pick that was my all my packages, so I could see what all software I had and do stuff with that. So this is the program called QDirstat, and it's available. Window people, you could do WinDirstat. KDirstat might still be there, but it's not being developed as much as the QDirstat because of the newer filing type system with the Qt files. So that's the my list of GUI files. And what I'm going to do now is switch to my list of terminal command line programs. This is not my area of expertise, but I'm going to show you what we've got, and then some other options that you have for people who like the command line option. And we'll do this all in the terminal, Control-Alt-T. Make this full screen. Now, the one that comes with your distribution is a program called TOP, T-O-P, and it runs inside your terminal. Because if I would scroll up, you'll see, oh, there's the beginning part. That's where my fast fetch is with all my information. That's something I added extra to my terminal. But you can see it, we're still in the same terminal. It doesn't run separate. this program pretty much is just an information program about your top processes. It gives you information about your processor, your memory, and things like that, but mostly in just number format. So you can see my computer has a total of almost 6,000 megabytes of RAM, and I've only got so much free because of what we're using and that such. But then it gives me all of the programs, processes that are running. And in the terminal, you would use that kill command to stop something. And because this is running, as I showed you, this is running in the terminal. If I had a process that I wanted to get rid of, and I've got to be careful, I'm just going to click, but not. See if I can. Okay, this is the one I have to know the number. So if I go and I hit the K for the kill, oh, wrong keyboard. You'll see right up here above the white line that triggered the kill command in the terminal, because I'm running inside the terminal. So they put it at the top instead of the bottom, but it's running in the terminal. And so I have to know the number of what I want to. And so the default one was the very top one, but I would type in the number that I would want and hit enter, and then it would kill that process. I'm not going to do that, but that's what you get with the default is just top. And a lot of people say that's all I need, because I just need to know what process is gumming up the works, and I'm going to hit the K and type the number and kill the process. Q usually gets you out of programs. And so I can get Q to get out of that. And you can see down at the bottom, I'm back in my terminal, because there's my normal, what I would see in the terminal. I'm going to clean that out. Let's get rid of that. Now, that comes with it. There are a number of programs that I found that are terminal programs that different people like. This is one of those that, because with Linux everything's free, you can try it out and see what you like. Sometimes you can use the tab to fill if you have the right numbers. This first terminal program is going to be called Glances, and this one will run as a separate unit. I can't scroll back up to get where you saw before. This one flickers a lot. Not my favorite one. Not one that I have good luck with, but I wanted to show you because it has a little bit more information that you get. You can see across the top, there's a little kind of a bar graph for my CPU memory and swap, then the regular digital information. On the left-hand side, there's information about the network, my disks, and it's interesting that this one shows all the different partitions. We talk about, Tim was mentioning, he's a partition person, I'm a partition person. So this one did show me all the information about the different partitions, the file system, and the network. And then there's the owners just came in, the different processes, just like before. Now this one, I can't get it to work right to try to do a kill the process. Whenever I do it, I might have not installed this correctly or whatever, but if I try to kill a program, the whole program crashes. So I'm not going to be able to show you, but you're supposed to be able to select something, because you can see that I can go up and down the list. But another weird thing is I got down here and I'm not at the bottom of the list. I can't go any further. So I don't know what's exactly with this program, but I show it because people said they like it. You do have some customization of it that if I want to just show, there's like three different sizes. There's the top bar, the side bar, and the big one. So if I hit one, I can show you an expanded version of the top bar. If I don't want to see the network, I can get rid of the network. If I don't want to see the processes, I can hit is it 3? No, 3 took it back to get rid of the extra gram on here. So, you know, 5 takes away the top. That's what. And there. So now I've just got the process. This one I can't get rid of the others, so I can add that. So there is some customizing, so you can see what you want to see. But for me, somebody else who in the real world, when we do the spectacular software showcase, somebody who likes glances would be demonstrating glances for us and telling us all about how it works better than what I can tell you. But I can show you, at least you can get all that information. Okay, so Q to get out of here because it's typical. And now I'm back into that. So you can see I was running kind of a separate terminal program to get to that. Now, the one I kind of like, this has got a lot of information, is NMON. And to begin with, it just comes up blank because it says, you need to tell me what you want to see. And you can see there's a whole list of what. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say I want to see my CPU with a C, and I want to see my memory with an M, and I see my network with an N. Now, this all depends on what size you have for your screen to be able to fill up. So right now you can see the CPU, the memory, and the network. If I added something else, we might not be able to. Oh, hang on a second. Sorry, but there was something crawling in my head. Ugh. Okay, so there's a limit to how many you can see. So this one looks kind of neat because the graph shows you both numbers and a little cute graph with U and S's. You can see all the information about the memory and the network. So I'm going to get rid of the network and get rid of memory, and I'm going to add the processes. And so this is another one where I can see everything is going, but again, your size limitation might not let you see everything. This is a great program for recording because there's more things to see, but this doesn't let you do the kill. You need to open up a terminal, and once you know the number you want, go through that. For example of anything, I'm going to take away the top processes, and I'm going to add another one, U, and this one shows the processes in their command line. So you can see where all these processes are. Take that one away, take top away, and add file system. So if I wanted to see a file system, and what this tells me is there's not a lot of real file systems, it says. So a capital J will get rid of anything that's not real, but a sub-file system or a link system. So you can go into H for help, and there gives you all of your options to what you can see and what you can have. Quite a lot of information. And I think this one is also really good for recording and having a track of what you're doing. But lots of information. You can't do the kill. Q to get me out. Now let's take a look at another program. And a lot we know with Linux is free open source. I like what you did. I'm going to make it better. So we started with the top program, and somebody said, well, I'm going to do it better, and I'm going to make HTOP. And with HTOP, we have a kind of a better bar graph, shows all of my cores and memory in bar graph form. And then it shows all of the processes at the bottom. This one lets you do more, because this one will let you do the kill the process. You can see with an F9 that it will let you pick. I can't remember if this is. Yeah, see, you go down the list of what you want, and then you hit the F9. Oh, not available, because that's probably what I'm on right now, so we can't get rid of it. But you don't have to open up a terminal. You can just go to F9, and it will give you the option. Let me see if I can do it on a different one. It's not Zoom. LibreOffice, let's try that one. F9, not available. Why is it not unavailable? Because it's running. But it pulls it up and gives you the options of what you want to do to kill that. This one has a lot of options. F2. Oh, I know why. This is a laptop. That's the other one. So if I want to kill, I got to go. Let me go back to HTOP, because I got to do the function key. Now F9 will work. And up at the side, you can see down on the left-hand side, what signal do I want to send? And number 15 is the command for terminate that program. So I could hit the enter button and terminate that from right here without having to over it. I wonder why it was unavailable. That's because of the good old 2 sets of laptop. So I don't want to do anything, so I'm going to escape out of that one. F2, function F2. This one is set up with a lot of settings for you to choose. This one is really good for HTOP. And as you can see, there's display, headers. You could really customize, what you want going through that list. So that's the, sorry about that hiding there. So that shows you the one called HTOP. Now, again, we're going to quit. Nope, this is an F10 to quit. So they decided to do something different. And of course, function F10. We took the top, HTOP, and somebody says, well, we use the bash language. We're going to do a bash top. And bash top is kind of a better looking one. And it shows you things a little nicer. It's got a neat little dotted graph with all these processors and my cores and stuff, and the memory and bar graph and network. And a graph shows you how well it's going. And then it gives you all the processors too. So you can see a lot. If I go to the right keyboard and I go over the processes, you can see I can go down the list. And again, if I hit the K button on this one, it'll kill it. I can terminate something, or I can interrupt it. So I've got 3 choices right here. I can get more info on that one. And so, lots of information, even includes the clock at the top. Now, M brings up the menu, and I want you to see this one has a lot of options that you can pick. There's like 2 pages worth of options that you can change. So, you can customize this one like, crazy for what you get back to the top. for this one. And if you need help, there's a big help one. So we go down, and this is another Q or menu wise quit. And I've got one more to show you, which I said quit. One more. You keep it coming in unhidden. And this one is the newer version of Bash Top. It's just called B Top or B Top Plus Plus. And this is more modern looking than Bash Top, and it's working on a different background. But you can see it's pretty much the same, but the newer version. And you can see all the same things we saw before. But with this one, I can choose what to see and what not to see. There are 4 different panels, CPU, memory, network, and process. And using those keys, I can choose that. So if I pick, wrong keyboard again. 1, we don't see the CPU at the top. If I turn off the 2, I don't see that. Turn off 3, don't see that. And I can go back. So there's 2, 3, and 4. I could not get, there's supposed to be a box for my GPU, but for some reason I can't get it to show up, even though on other things it showed that I had a GPU. And again, down at the bottom, it has the same terminate, kill, and what other signals that you want. You can get, because you saw on that list before, there was like 15 or 30 some different commands that are in the thing for doing stuff with processes. And I'm not a process person, but it looks nice. This one, if you look up at the top, P is preset. You can preset different combinations of what you want to see and go through that to do it. If you go to the memory, say this looks just like the other one, and go to options, this one has even more options. Here are all the general options. There's the options for what you see on the CPU. There's what I should be able to do for GPU, but I can't figure out. I have to figure out what's that. And for your memory and network. So a lot more options for customizing BTOP than you could with Bash Top. So I'm going to go back once more. You can see that. And that keeps popping back up. Shame on you. And so here's probably the one that would be the one that I would like to use, especially if I could get the gallery to work or the GPU to work. It's very colorful. It does the same as Bash Top does, which is more than HTOP does, but it's looks newer and whatever. Oh, forgot. This one also includes up here at the top battery. This is the first one of the terminal ones that showed my battery, and that made it an extra something extra on there. So that's the list of my system monitoring tools for Linux, with both the GUI one and the command line. As I said, the slideshow that Judy will be sending out will be all screenshots for each of the different programs, just to help you jog your memory. Somebody who didn't watch the presentation, it won't mean as much to them, so they'll need to watch the presentation. Then they'll say, oh, now I know what all that means. But these are programs. Now, in the future, what my hope would have been is that we would have had people who use these different programs be the ones to tell you about it, not me. Because maybe there was things I didn't do that I could have done if I'd known the programs better. So that's my program. Judy will open things up if people have questions, comments. but in the future, this is what we want to do. I'm going to just do a beginning demo of what comes with a program, and then hopefully we'll have everybody take off with, here's what I like, here's the program I use, this is what I think is great, and demonstrate it for us, and then we'll be able to make our own judgment.
That was so much fun to see you so darn enthusiastic. You get your teacher hat on for sure. Really. Donna. Oh, wait until his drinking is done. Okay.
Okay. John, I have a suggestion, and I'm not a pro, but I'd like to know about extensions people use. So I think that would be Donna, a good one.
That would be part of the Internet Month.
Right. I think that's a great idea. So that's why I threw that out.
I'm trying not to direct everything in except saying that when we talk about Internet, that is anything related to Internet, browsers, extensions on browsers, anything that you do on the Internet, do your taxes on the Internet, do your meetings on Internet. I could see, I'll hint that if Bob Bowser comes to that one, he might talk to us about the program they use called Free Conference Call for their stuff. So that's what I'm hoping is, anybody can bring up and anything related to that that'll help other people, what they like, what they don't like. So Donna, thank you for that suggestion. Hopefully somebody will add that to that month and say, okay, I'm going to tell Donna about the extensions I like for Chrome or Firefox, since that's the two basic ones right now.
Cool. I honestly think my chat box is broken.
Do you think so? Nobody sent
I got a chat from Bill, but that was for me to add him to my list of presentations like this. Any other questions for John? I mean, everything was so explicit, and I love your colors that you have.
Those are the default colors. I haven't messed with anything.
No, I know, but they are way cool. Beth from the Computer Club of Oklahoma.
Beth, either your mic is too loud. Everything's mumble jumble. And there's a possibility of the second computer sucking in myself.
There's not a second computer.
Well, that didn't work.
Yep. She'll try, because a lot of times if I can hear myself, whoever's wanting to talk, usually that means that there is a second computer or phone that is picking up my talk and sending it back through theirs.
Right. So that doesn't work.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Okay, Saul.
Just two things. One, with regard to the person who was having the audio issue, maybe they can post in the chat what she wanted to say.
My chat's not working.
Well, I'm just...
Maybe nobody sent you in a chat.
Just a suggestion. Yeah, just an alternative option. And
yes, right.
Just to John, in Zoom, when you hide the floating meeting controls bars, the keyboard key to unhide them is the escape key. So if you're using the escape key in another application, it may do that first. That's why it kept coming back. Okay.
And those last two programs to get out of the menu and the help place, it's an escape to get out of that. So thank you for reminding me that. I knew that, but this, I had to deal with the fact that, this laptop is a laptop, so it has to have a function key, whereas a desktop, you don't need that function key. So when you want to hit the F9s and stuff like that, you don't have a problem.
Oh, hark.
Does anybody else have another program, or those you who are terminal people, which one's your favorite system monitor? I don't know. Is it that a lot of people don't do the terminal stuff that way, and so a system monitor in a terminal isn't their choice as much as the GUI ones that I showed? Randy?
Yeah, no, I like Stacer is one of my favorites, and Fast Fetch I keep up on the screen constantly. And there's others that I have for other categories, but we'll talk about those at another time.
Great, great. Yeah. That's what my goal would be is to have people sharing those kind of things. And thank you for being a second to the Stacer program. I think that's a really good program.
Well, this is Donna again. I use Stacer just to clean up. I've never gone to all the other controls because it always seems so involved. So I appreciate you showing it today.
Good. Thank you, Donna. That's a goal of today.
Okay.
It's called, learning. We're here all to learn.
Yeah.
Something new.
Of course, I had to learn a little extra putting this together. That's why I said, I'm doing a lot of work that next time there are other people that doing or use software, they can share because they're using it. So, don't make me try to tell you how to use it when you could tell us. Andy.
Enjoyed your presentation, John.
Thanks.
I'm not a real good command line person, but one of the things that I like at the bash prompt is doing things that are not readily available on Windows. Two examples come to mind. If you're at a bash prompt and you type in CAL, get a calendar. And there are switches you can, and nothing comparable on the Windows side, as far as I know. I'm sure there are things you can add on to it. Another one is the right out of the box. Anybody that's played with Linux at all has probably heard of aliases.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a given on Linux, but you have to, go through a DOS key, a convoluted DOS key command line and whatever to do it on Windows. Yes, you can do it, but it's not as readily apparent. And yeah, you do have the WSL part of Windows for running Linux, but it's not Windows. It's not right out of the box. That's all. Just pass it along.
Good bit. Yes, I'm a big alias person.
And the chat is disabled. I would usually click on the chat because on Linux that creates a whole folder of the Zoom, which I can't.
I apologize. Today was a heckish day with technology, and Zoom wasn't working right, whatever. And I just checked, and the chat was turned off from the last time when Judy tells me to turn it off. Then I didn't go to check to see that it was turned back on. So that's my fault. But it's not
that today was a little bit unusual.
Oh, it was.
But the fact that when the chat is turned on, if you save the chat, it creates a folder under Zoom.
Right.
And so you don't have to play around with sudo creating new folders and giving it kind of the name like the other ones are.
Yeah, but I need to apologize. Yeah, I need to apologize to Judy that with all the stuff that I couldn't get working today because it was just hectic today.
No problem.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Too many things I have to check, and Zoom has put them where they're not as easy to find. So
if it were easy, everybody'd be doing it, John.
That's right. So I apologize for that. And anybody who wanted to put something in the chat, I'm sorry that you couldn't, because that was same for Alan's presentation. So I apologize to Alan for turning off his questions too.
Randy, you're on.
John, you forgot about the system monitor that you can have in the tray, the system tray, either at the top or at the bottom. And you can have it set up so that it shows 5 separate things, and you can just actually monitor that while you're doing everything else. So like if your memory starts to get full, or if the hard drive is really active and you go like, wonder what's going on. And then you can click on it and go into the details. But that's it's called System Monitor.
Right. And it's not that I forgot it. It was a part that was a thing that you add to your panel. So that's an applet or a desklet. Both of them have that. And so, yes, and that's what I wanted, Andy. I wanted people to bring in other options. Thank you very much. You get a gold star today because if you want to, you can put that. If you do a right click on your taskbar and go to applets, and you can add one of the one called System Monitor, and then it'll be there right in the side. It might be small. You click on it, you can see all that information. So thank you, Randy, for adding something new. Check your applets or your desklets for System Monitor that you can add. One of the things I didn't also mention is that one of the big things in Linux is people always want to use conkeys on their desktop. And a conky is just a big graphic that's on your desktop, like a desklet. And you know the conkeys can include all that information, but a lot of people don't want to see that all the time on their screen. So Randy's way of having it on your taskbar, where you can pop it open when you want it, and when you don't need it, close it up and just leave it on that. So good, thanks, Randy. So there's another one. Check it out. And I've had that on mine, that you can, but then I said, it's taking up room on my taskbar. But I'm going, hey, I've got 2 taskbars. So good, thanks, Randy. That's another one to add to your panel.
Any other questions for John?
Or any other comments of programs?
For Alan?
Yeah, Stays. Like my 2 favorites were the Stacer and resources. Not saying that what we get by default isn't good enough, but hey, somebody said I got something better and it's free.
Right, and that's the criteria. Going, gone, you guys.
Oh, I want to thank our presenters today. And like I said, get yourselves ready. June, sound and video, anything that has to do with sound and video. July, graphics. September, internet. October, productivity. And December, accessories, or things that, today was kind of an accessory. System monitoring is an accessory, but that's from a previous workshop or a survey that said, can you do that? Of course you can.